whole piece on reason behind the retrospective. Um, I don't remember who won it last week, but maybe you wanna do it, Joseph.
Yeah, just what what am I exactly reading? Just remind me quick.
You can see it on the screen.
Yeah. 2 seconds. Okay, yeah. The purpose of this sprint retrospective is to plan ways to increase quality and effectiveness. The team inspects how the last sprint went with regards to individuals' interactions, processes, tools, and their definitions of done. In inspect elements of often vary with the domain of work. Assumptions that lead them astray are identified and their origins explored. The team discusses what went well during the sprint, what problems it encountered, and how those problems were or were not solved. The team identifies the most helpful changes to improve its effectiveness. The most impactful improvements are addressed as soon as possible. They may even be added to the sprint backlog for the next sprint.
Okay, thanks. Cool. Just I guess a quick reminder every time we do planning so that we get in the mood and get into it. Let me change screen. I'll start sharing Figma now. If in case someone is missing, I dropped the link in the voice chat channel here. See, it's me, Bear, Gideon, Joseph, Tom. Let's wait 1 minute or something more. Um, but in the meantime, just remembering what we do first is about 10 minutes of praise on praise channel. We don't do it on Figma, and then we just jump straight into the 3 questions of, what should we continue, what should we stop, and then some other ideas to try out. And Nate just left. Well, let's just wait a second. Are you good, Nate? Could you find the board?
Yeah, I'm sorry. My Discord is just not working with me.
No worries.
I already jumped into the praise channel because I saw that was what the first step was. I thought it was a nice practice. But
Well,
I'm happy to
we
go
can
wherever we go. Well, while we wait, I'll just keep dropping things on the praise board until we're ready to get
That's
started.
fine. But I think we can, if Nate, if your Discord's fine, we can get started with the praise part.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I'll just start the timer. We have just about 1 minute left. Okay, we are done here. Um, I see some of those people, one or two people writing. I just give 1 second. But in the meantime, we should all be looking and moving to this other section, start, stop, continue. We are going to begin with continue. And so, quick reminder, just to see what's going well, what we liked about this past sprint, these past 2 weeks. remembering that's more about the process and how we work together, and not so much about what we deliver and the results of work, right? And so we are going to take 10 minutes for the way we are going to do it is 10 minutes for the question, and then 5 minutes each we can adapt depending on how we see it to just reflect on the question. Then we move on to the next one, and that till we are done with them. Um, Let me check back the praise chat again. But okay, looks good. So let's get started with the first question. Oh wow, this is filling out very quick. I'll try to make some more space there. We have 4 minutes left, more or less.
And Cam and Isaac, I don't know if with the sprint retrospective, this is for personal and in general, right? Like I can reflect on my own personal stuff as well.
Yeah, if that's things that are working for you on a personal level in regards with the sprint, I would consider that as valid. Yeah.
I'll be honest, I always loved when we shared personal things because that's how the team also really gets to know each other more intimately too. So I always loved that we have things that are worked for us as a team, but also on an individual level that we don't normally hear about because we're not like hanging around the coffee machine or water cooler in our office. So thanks for raising that, Nate. I'm going to add a bunch now.
Okay, so we are done with the first question. Probably the first time we've ever filled the whole thing. Um, so now we're going to take just 5 minutes of reflection. Um, in other times we've like read all of them, but maybe what we do now is just try to go on a quick round, something like that, and just get everyone's impression. And because reading every one of them and then just getting comments would probably take too much time. Um, does anybody feels like going it first?
Yeah, I'll go. Yeah, I think the communication has been really, really good. I think that as we started to simplify the scope of our work, we've started to really kind of communicate along the same lines in terms of the projects we're focusing on and what the priorities are. And I agree with a lot of the notes in here about the use of Notion, and our splint printing process has really kind of allowed us to evaluate where we're at and what we're doing and prioritize a lot better than we have in the past. And so I think we're on the right route, even though it might take a couple weeks to get used to, a couple more sprints, but it's been great. I think the communication's been good. So I'll pass it off.
I'll go. I think the thing that pops out to me is the planning, and also just that we're starting to kind of figure out how to make the transition from big picture to actual tasks. Like how does that handoff work? And through that, I think we're getting better at learning to say no. Learning to prioritize. I think that's really important. I'll hand it off. Whoever wants to go.
Do you want to pass it to somebody?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know if okay, Bear, do you want to go?
Yeah. I think for me, it's also the same thing. I think communications and communications between the team and planning are probably the things that I've noticed as well, that we've been getting better at. And I think that's really important, right? Because I think that's the basis of everything we start doing after. So yeah, just really happy of finding this cohesion between the team, getting better every week and every sprint. So yeah, nothing much to add. I'll pass it on to Joseph.
Yeah, I think the note I wrote was about just everyone being open to changes in, let's say, certain processes or limitations, or maybe even outside, or being open to changes with whatever task they're doing. So for example, for me personally, I definitely do like that Tam was able to, ask why I was able to do things. I was able to respond, and it was able to, and then as a team, we was able to come to a resolution behind a problem like that. So, yeah, that was kind of like my thing that I think is wonderful for the team in general. I will. Has everyone gone? Tam, have you gone already?
No, I haven't gone. And I think I'll just say what everyone else said. I really think this idea of knowing our priorities so we can say no, I think is really important. And I think the planning in Retro helps us collectively decide what our priorities should be, which I think is the one of the strongest ways for a team to work. So cool. Really happy to see that everyone else feels that too. Unfortunately, I do have to hop now. So I'm going to pass it back to you, NT.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks for joining. I'll just say intention. I think that's the word. I get the sense that our intent has improved a lot, and that has allowed us to, be able to take on work more intentionally, but also move more intentionally. And so the meetings now, I feel like we make better use of our time together, and I also feel like we advance some projects better because we have we we have a clear sense of a clear intent and a clear sense of where everything should go, and that's, I think, in my opinion, in in a lot of senses part of because of just the way the team has been matured after all we've gone through, but also how Agile has set a really good foundations to just be able to work and I also think that some things have gone out um, to the clear that are more appropriate, or that it's it's easier to see other things that we have and can improve after having this strong foundation. I guess that's what I'm saying. Um, Now we're going to go right into the second question, which is stop. What should we stop doing, or overall what needs to improve? As usual, 10 minutes, and they start now. we just have about 10 minutes left. I don't see anyone writing. Yes, I'll wait just 1 minute more, and if I don't see any movement, we can move on. Okay, I'll stop it now. Let's stop here. Now let's get just 5 minutes of reflections on this question. Does anybody want to go first? 5, 4, 3.
I'll go.
Okay.
I can go. So one of the patterns I'm seeing here is who, you know, who's going to do what, from like owning projects to owning tasks, and how we make our planning in Notion clearer so that it's easier for people to sign up for individual tasks, and just that kind of like this is the next step, I think, in the process. And the other piece of that, I added this, but you know, who's providing feedback on our high level direction, and I think that's part that's missing right now too. Is we need to expose our higher level plans to the broader community. So I will hand it to Joseph.
Yep, the only thing I said was mainly more communication on a high level, nothing detailed at all, but just more communication on synergy TEC. Just like, a heads up of like what's their focus for the next, I don't know, month or so. What things have they got going on, and the things like that. Because I think maybe even from a comms point of view, I would be willing to help if they needed to, or if I knew what they were doing and what their current projects were and anything else like that. I'll pass it to Nate.
Thanks, Joseph. Yeah, so a couple of things. I agree. I think Gideon may have mentioned the daily stand-up, getting more spotty. Simplifying it, I think, would be a really good way to do things, just to capture the intent of what it's trying to accomplish. Yeah, having more clarity around the planning before our sprint planning, so we do know how to distribute tasks and make sure everybody can be plugged in, is one of those things. And then, yeah, more focus on swarming. I still think that, at the core, I think we'll work really well together if we start to just focus on smaller initiatives, even if we are less productive at the beginning in terms of focusing on smaller tasks and working with each other to accomplish those tasks. And starting to build capacity is something that I think we can slowly build up and work on. I just think we just have issues with it. Personally, I need to be better at updating my Notion, so I just want to mention that as well for the project planning and making sure that we stay up to date on what we're working on. So I'll pass it over to Bear.
Bear, just before you go, I'm trying to get actionable items for later. Is it okay if I get you on the high level strategy feedback, right? Gideon? you're kind of working with it anyways.
Oh, sorry, Isaac, I didn't catch that. Can you repeat that?
Sorry, no. So for these last two questions, let's try to give the feedback, but also let's try to find a solution. Um, I wanted to do this, but I forgot. So let's try to do that now. And so from one of the things that we've been chatting about, one is the listed up fixes, and I got that. Just wondering if you, Gideon, if I could put that the high level strategy to you. You're kind of working on it anyways, but
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you said bear. Yeah, this is something. Yes, give it to me. I'll take it.
okay. I'm just just trying to get uh, clear things we can act on when we give feedback. I think that be a nice sort of an outcome, but it's not like if you don't can think of anything, it's also fine. Go ahead, Bear, sorry.
Yeah, well, not much else to say. I think for me, the biggest thing it was also kind of like defining the who and the how. Are we taking work on the beginning of each sprint? I feel that there might be a need for some more clarity. You know, thinking about, are we taking it based on priorities, based on active projects, based on more of like whatever each of us wants to work on, so trying to bring more clarity to that. I think that could be helpful. Thinking on an action item to that, for that, I'm not too sure. I think it's a little more of a confusing conversation, but I'm pretty sure it's something we can probably tomorrow in the sprint planning, this will come up and we can probably figure it out there. And yeah, not much to add. I'll pass it on to, I think, you, Isaac. You're the last one.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, like pretty much everyone has said. At least for me, the biggest pain point we have right now is the planning. Like both getting everyone sort of prepared beforehand, um, is one thing we have to work on, but also making it clearer and more accessible for people to get prepared, which is also a pain point I've noticed. It's also another thing that we have to work on, like maybe break down projects a bit more into milestones and things like that, so that people now have things that are more digestible, both in size but also in time. Um, I think we do have to work on. And so for that, I put this improved planning, but it's pretty much on one side is create the roadmap and then continuous coaching, which is kind of what I'm trying to do as well. And so I have these as actionable items. There's a little over 10 minutes left for the top of the hour. It seems like we're going to run just a bit over the hour. Hope that's fine with everybody, but if someone has to drop off at the top of the hour, that's also fine. Feel free to. Um, Last question, ideas to try. Uh, which things we may want to try out and incorporate into the process and how we work together. 10 minutes. Let's go. looks like we've run out of ideas. I'll just give like 2 minutes more, and we can move on. 1 2 minutes more. All right, well, let's get on to the reflection part. Um, putting 5 minutes in. Okay. Does anybody feels like going first for this one? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Want to take it there?
Yeah, sure. Um, well, what I wrote down is, well, it's not an idea, but it's kind of like a first attempt to it, to coordinate. And I think based on that, a lot of ideas might come up. So I think that's really cool. And the other thing I just wrote down, it was based on what Nate just mentioned on the what needs improvement, that he said that he would like to personally get better at tracking work in Notion. I think it would be really cool to maybe incorporate, maybe as part of the retrospective, or maybe on um, in a different way. Um, some time, or something that could allow us to make a personal reflection on what we would like to get better at on a personal level after each sprint. I think that could make us, you know, um, get better at things and acknowledge that improvement that we would like to look for. So I think it would be a cool practice to have and something we could try on. Um, and with that, I'll pass it on to Gideon.
Thanks, Bear. The Yeah, rather than trying to kind of like come up with an overall theme, I'm just going to focus on one. I think it would be good for us to try pulling together a set of steps for that we should each of us do before we go into the sprint planning sessions. Just like here's it's like just a simple thing that points to here's the project prospectus, here's any project plans that we actually have. So that's another piece that's missing is like for the grants program we'll probably need a doc that basically explains what we're planning on doing in that program area over the next 6 months or so. And so it would link to that, and then kind of just outline what are the kind of the key things we're trying to accomplish month by month in each of those project areas. And I think with that, then people will be able to more easily plug in. So if we could just have, so I'm talking about two things. One is some bridge documents that are kind of like project, program planning docs, and then some separate thing that's just very simple. That's like, hey, the day before sprint planning, make sure you look at these docs and be thinking about how you want to plug in the sprint around those goals that are laid out in the program doc. I will hand it to Nate.
Yeah, I generally agree with what Gideon just said. I think that to assist with the planning, I wrote the kind of having the milestone map. Even if we use it like as a bridging doc, as like this Figma page, for example, if we want to set out kind of, the SPI, the grant program, the merger, the migration, and having kind of milestones for each, and having kind of some people who are the kind of project leads that can map out small milestones throughout to get to where we want to be. And then it's, before, as we go through sprint planning, we can look at that kind of, milestone map and start to bring small things in to each sprint and see if we can chip away at each of these initiatives instead of, trying to kind of focus on one, or maybe run into some problems, or, whatever it may be, to avoid obstacles, to say we're slowly having some progress on each of these kind of development arms that we have. So I think that's a big one. And, the other one I have is, I think bringing in, it's not a priority by any means, but expanding the use of praise. I think getting back to that, I think it is such a powerful tool that we kind of underestimate a lot of times, but expanding it beyond just the internal workings of the TEC and praising each other, but actually praising other TE contributions outside of our immediate group. But yeah, I'll pass it over to Joseph.
I was gonna ask, since you mentioned praise, Nate, and just like a question posed to the group, how does everyone feel with regards to like using praise's new like AI feature to then like have and then we can like like test out and push it out to the public to be like, yo, this is what our members of our team are doing within the TEC, and this is how we've been praised and stuff like that, to help build more awareness for team members that are actually working within the TEC, and that will help it be more personable to, I don't know, people that want to be involved, or people that want to find out more information, the specific things within the TE ecosystem. So that's one thing. And I think someone took my point with regards to just to build on com support with any project that may need it, and just creating task based off that. Yeah, I was gonna write that, but someone kind of took that, so I just put the thumbs up next to it. I think, Bear, have you gone? If you haven't gone, then it's back to
Yeah, Bear, and I think so it's me. I didn't add anything to the ideas because I actually didn't think of any, and the ones I thought of were already down there. But I think, especially, or at least for the upcoming sprints, anything that improves we can call it the project or sprint experience should be, or is, high priority. And so both, and I found both the milestone map and the guide to plan to be like actually really great ideas. The milestone thing, roadmap thing, we're kind of working on already, but we should probably move it a bit higher on priority. And so I added both of them down here as actionable items. And yeah, just probably we'll put that on me to work on this upcoming sprint. With this, we are done with this retrospective. I guess thanks everyone, and if you feel like there's anything that has come out of this that you feel like taking on, remember to add it to your planning. And talking about planning, we have it tomorrow. Please make sure to come prepared. As always, if any question, whatever, just let me know, and I'm happy to chat through it or whatever. And yeah, that's all from my side. See you tomorrow then.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.
Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, everyone.